we are looking at our graphic organizer for a text-dependent analysis. And our graphic organizer, we wrote our introduction up here just to make sure that we had everything. But now for our body paragraphs, we are just writing small phrases so that we know what our paragraphs will be about when we get to writing them. And then our conclusion is down at the end. We worked on body paragraph 1, which will be the second paragraph in our essay yesterday. I'm going to zoom in, review it, and work on body paragraphs 3 and 4. Paragraph 3 and 4, which are body 1 and 2 and 3. Reviewing the parts. So our vocab words are important words from either the prompt or the article that are helping us focus on what our paragraph is about. The next thing that we did was we came up with just the beginning of some text evidence that we highlighted in the text. And when we highlighted that text, we put numbers next to it so we knew, okay, that's how I'm going to use that. So since our focus is problem and population, we use the quotes that start "so many lionfish," and some studies show. In transition words, in the article it states, because these phrases came from the beginning and end of the article, so we needed a transition phrase that really told us that it just came from the article, not a certain part. So I'd start off with that, and then moving into the analysis. This is what comes from my brain. This is not me just copying words out of the article, but instead saying why this is important, because our prompt is about how the author showed the problems and solutions for the invasion of lionfish. And this is a problem one. So why is it really a problem? They're damaging the animals in the ocean, and eating too much is taking away from other fish. So now I'm ready to move on to this next body paragraph. And as a class, we decided that this one would be one of the other problems is that they're eating fish that help. So now I need to go back and I need to find my text evidence that says that they're eating fish that help. So I'm going to go back and look at that. So now I have here a piece of evidence that shows that what they're eating, why this is bad. So it says, in the Gulf, the lionfish are eating fish like damselfish and wrasse, which keep the reef clean. When you take fish away, the coral gets smothered, the reef dies, and we lose larger fish. So this right here, a scientist is saying, and that's really important. I should include that, so I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to give it a number. So I want to call this 4 so that if I need to come back and find it when I'm writing my essay, I now have a number by it. I'm annotating to let myself know, hey, this is going to be important for me. And in my graphic organizer, I'm not going to write down that whole thing. I'm just going to say 4 in the Gulf. That is the beginning of that. That tells me why it's a problem. The problem is that they're eating fish that help. I also see here it says they also eat important species. Hold on. Oh, where did it go? There we go. They also eat important species such as snapper and grouper. So I'm going to use that one. Why are snapper and grouper important? Do you know what? It doesn't tell me. But because it says they're important, I'm going to believe the scientist. I'm going to call it number 5, and I am going to add 5. They also eat onto my graphic organizer. Okay, so then where was that? I would say, looking at the article, those things were both in the end of the article. So for my transition phrase here, I'm going to put at the end of the article, it is revealed, and I'm going to leave it at that. So now I need to think about, from my own brain, from my analysis, why is that important? And I'm going to say, well, do you know what? I know that there needs to be balance in nature, and that there's different fish and they have jobs, and if there's not enough fish to do the jobs, then it can cause larger problems for the environment. So I will say there needs to be balance in nature. Animals and plants have roles, and there needs to be enough of each. So my transition phrase could be, this reminds readers that, and then this goes back to something that I know from life that I'm relating to the information that they gave me about how certain fish are keeping the reefs clean so that they don't get smothered. So now I have the basic information that I need for my second body paragraph, and I can move on to my solution. So for my solution, one of the biggest things that they said for the solution was fishing. That fishing is one of the only solutions. Fishing and man, not together, not a fishing man, but that humans are needed. Maybe I should put in human. Humans are needed for the solution. Going back to the article, right here it says it. The only known way to keep a lionfish in check here, scientist says, is man. So I want to highlight that. And my numbers, my highlighting might not match up with yours, but overall it should be a similar process. You should be marking your text. You should be annotating. But for me, this is number 6, the only known. So I brought in my note that that is the next text evidence that I have highlighted, the only known. So we say that man, so that goes with humans needing to be helpful, but that means, and I'm going to call this 7 right now, I need to talk about how the solution is fishing. It's not just, so humans doing what? So I need to go find that evidence. And right here it says lion fishing tournaments. So I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to say this is kind of a split one, because then it continues down here. That lionfish tournaments are encouraged to kill and gather fish. And I would then, and it goes on, like, why are tournaments important? They've removed 12,000 lionfish since 2009. Highlighting all of that, and then I'm going to add my number again, that this is my number 7. And so even though it's broken, I'm considering it all together here, which, do you know what that means for me? Because I can move it. I'm going to put my 6 over here to make it clear, because all of this is 7. Maybe I want to put the 7 with all of them, because they're all the same thought. It's just kind of spread out, and I wouldn't want to copy all of that information into my essay. It would just, it's too much. You can't include all of this. You need smaller pieces of it. But I'll start off with lion fishing tournaments in my graphic organizer. So there's my second piece of evidence, lionfish fishing tournaments. So now I have 2 things that go to my solution that talk about humans and fishing. And my transition phrase, my transition words at the end, the end of the article gives some solutions, and then talk about my evidence. So now I need to add in, and do you know what? These, I don't really want them to be boxes. I just want them to be here for us. Now I need to think about from my brain. Okay, so from my brain, I'm looking at that and knowing that the one quote includes the information that the tournaments have only caught or killed 12,000 lionfish. It's a solution, but it certainly doesn't compare to the 2 million babies that they can have. It doesn't seem like a lot. So in my brain, I'm going to think, so I'd say scientists we should listen to scientists. They say man is humans. That's what they mean when they're saying man. Humans are needed, but only killing 12,000 seems small in comparison to hold on, million eggs. See if I can't get that to fit. There we go. Okay. And my transition phrase would be the solutions don't, hold on, no, that's not a good transition phrase. Let me pause for a second and think. I'm going to go back up and I'm going to look and say, this helps readers understand, this reminds readers, so I'm going to say, the author shows that more, and that's my transition phrase, but I'm actually going to add a little bit more into my box here and say more solutions are needed. Because I want to make sure that in terms of my analysis, that's part of what this author is showing me, is that this isn't enough. We need more. We now have some solid information that we will use to make our body paragraphs. I'm going to create the conclusion in a separate video.